Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Angie and I'm a young mom of 4. And today I'm going to be sharing my birth story with you guys. I am 4 months postpartum now and I finally feel ready to share my crazy birth story. I gave birth unassisted, accidentally, in my bathroom without anybody there except me, my husband, our kids, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. I have lots of pictures and videos of everything to go with the story, but I don't have enough to put it all together for it to make sense for you guys. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through the story and I will put up the pictures and the videos when it gets to that part of the story. So for a little context, I have had a hospital birth and 2 birth center births. And we plan to give birth at the birth center for a 3rd time. However, the birth center is an hour and 15 minutes away from me, and at the time of me giving birth to my 4th baby, there was road construction, so it was a little bit longer to get there than that. So this story starts off a few weeks before I actually gave birth. So I was about 37, 38 weeks pregnant, and I started getting the shakes, and I thought for sure I was in labor because I was getting the shakes and then all of a sudden I started contracting. Like really strongly, and my mom was like, oh, that's a sign of labor, you need to go in. And I have a history of going pretty quickly with my previous babies. My labor with my first was 5 hours, my labor with my second was 3 hours, and my labor with my third was 13 hours. So I knew that it could be pretty short labor. So as soon as I started feeling those, we hopped in the car, we loaded up all our kids, and we decided to head to the birth center. My contractions were so close together. I thought 100% that I was in labor. Like, you could not have convinced me that I was not in labor. I think I said at one point, if I sneeze, this baby is going to fall out. That is how much I thought I was in labor. And we even called the birth center and said, oh my gosh, like this baby is gonna come out like right now. Like, I'm going to give birth on this highway because we're on a big freeway, right? And we're about 10 minutes from the birth center and I am losing my mind. I am like, I am going to give birth in this car. 1000% I thought I was going to give birth in that car. And so we pull up and they're running out, you know, with the wheelchair and stuff, and I get out of the car, and I'll put some of the footage in from that day in here. I wanted to start this vlog in case I'm in labor. I'm still unsure if I am. I'm feeling very like shaky and nauseous, and so I think I could be getting sick. But there's also a lot of pressure down there, and I've had a few contractions, and we figured it would just be best to like go up to the birth center and just get checked. Because we do live over an hour away. It's 2:37. My contractions started at 2. Oh, these are how the contractions are looking. During my contractions now, I'm starting to not feel so okay. They're like 2-ish minutes apart, and we are 45 minutes away. The fact that I'm talking in between them is a good sign. The fact that I can't feel her head is a good sign, so.
How are your contractions?
About 2 minutes apart. I think she's coming today. Just like hands and knees begging God that we make it to this birth center right now.
Oh yeah, because now they're how far are you away from the birth center?
About 25-30 minutes.
Oh, because the road construction is that bad?
Oh mother, that one hurts.
Oh shoot, well I'm praying for you. We're on our way.
I can definitely feel her in my butt. There's no way she's not coming.
Oh, I'm so excited for you, Ange. You're gonna have a baby today.
I know. You're gonna have a baby today. Oh, that one. Those stupid ads on the contraction app. Why is that a thing? Jesus has got this in his hands. We're gonna be safe. Okay. We're not going to have this baby in the car. Traffic's in a standstill, Jor.
No, it's not. Let me know if I need to take an exit, okay? Okay.
Okay. I need you to call them. So just in case, they can explain how we do birth a baby in this car.
Okay, how's the pressure?
I feel like I need to push, but I'm trying really hard to hold her in there, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but... Oh my, they're happening right on top of each other. I'm not crowning, but I can feel her.
Okay.
She's ready.
Okay, just keep breathing. We will be ready for you.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, if you've got the air conditioning on in the car, turn the air conditioning off and turn the heat on a little bit, okay?
Okay. I'm gonna take my sweater off. Okay. Come on. Whew. And they wheel me into the birth center, and you know, the first thing they do is they go like over all your vitals. They want to check if you're dilated and all that. And so she checked if I was dilated, and she said, you're at a 3 or a 4. And everybody was confused, right? Because I just thought I was literally about to have this baby in the car, like convinced I was about to have this baby in the car. And so when she said that, I broke down, like literally sobbing. I was so upset because I was like, how am I not giving birth right now? And then she said, your baby is sunny side up, which my son, that took 13 hours, my third born, he took 13 hours and he was sunny side up. So I know what that felt like. It hurts so bad to like labor with a sunny side up baby. And I did that the whole time since right before I pushed him out, he turned at the last second. I labored with him sunny side up the whole time. So I know how it feels, and it really hurts. I don't know, it just hurts worse, I feel like, when they're sunny side up. Anyways, so she says, oh, she's sunny side up. I'm like, okay, like I've had a sunny side up baby before, but that does not explain how much pain I'm in right now. Like I can't even tell you guys how much pain I'm in. I'm about to have this baby. And I thought for sure she was sunny side up because I felt it all in my back. The contractions were in my back is what it felt like. And so, you know, they're checking me out and they said baby girl was in distress. I want to say her heart rate was super high is what it was, and mine was super high. And then they checked and I was running a fever. So everybody's a little confused. They're trying to like go through my notes and stuff like this, kind of figure out what the heck is going on and why I think I'm literally in hardcore labor right now. And I was having contractions. So it wasn't just in my head that I was having contractions, I was having contractions. But they go back in my chart and they say, hey, we noticed you had a UTI a week ago. You finished those antibiotics, right? And I said, no, I started to feel better, so I did not finish the antibiotics. Total mistake on my part. And so I think right then is when it clicked for them that they knew what was going on. I still didn't know what was going on. She was giving me fluid through an IV, trying to get me to eat and stuff, trying to get me to drink water. And I'm sobbing because I thought I was about to have a baby, and apparently I wasn't. So I was really upset. And she came in and said, we need you to get in the car and go to the hospital because we cannot deal with this here. We are pretty sure that you have a kidney infection because you did not finish your antibiotics, and you and the baby are in distress. That's why you're running a fever, and that's why your body is trying to get you to give birth right now. So they sent me to the hospital. Mind you, I'm an hour and a half away. And at that point, my mother and father-in-law had taken my kids back home. And so I'm an hour and a half away from all 3 of my kids. It's April 4th. Baby girl is not coming today. I thought 100%, literally 100%, that she was coming. My contractions were back to back. I literally thought I was going to have her in the car. Like, that is how certain I was that I was gonna have her, and they were so painful. I got to the birth center, they checked me, they said I was a 3, and they said that she was sunny side up, and that is why it was so painful, because that's how they were with Finn too when he was sunny side up. But when I got there, baby girl's heart rate was high, my heart rate was high, and I was running a fever. And it's been consistent that way since we got to the birth center like 5 hours ago. It's been like consistently like I'm running a fever, both of our heart rates are high. She did like a kidney test, and she said that my UTI turned into a kidney infection. Since none of that was getting better, even after fluids, after Tylenol, after antibiotics, her heart rate was still super high, mine was still super high, and I'm still running a fever. And so they are sending us to a hospital. I'm definitely not in labor. I have a really bad kidney infection that was making my body think I was in labor. I still have my IV in. I didn't want to have to put it back in at the hospital, so I have my IV in still. I get to the hospital and they say, you are septic and you have a kidney infection. You could be here for a week. Managed to get me super hydrated, started me on super high dose of antibiotics, and they got my contractions to stop. And I'll put some footage of the hospital stay here. We got hospital meal number 3. Got a BLT, some chips, some chicken noodle soup, some corn, grape juice, Sprite, a cookie, and some tea that you guys are leaning up against. I literally look like a crazy person, but still pregnant, so that's a positive. We're going on almost 24 hours in the hospital. They're about to change shifts, so I'm about to meet my new nurse and doctor, but yeah, there's a little hospital update. I've not brushed my hair, mainly because I don't have a hairbrush. I've had this IV in for over 24 hours and it hurts so bad. Another day in the hospital, another meal in the hospital. Got some brekkie, some pancakes. But yeah, it was really stressful because I had gone from I'm having this baby in the car to now we need to keep that baby in, because the doctor said something along the lines of sick moms have sick babies and you're not going to want to have a baby right now when you feel like this. So he said, I would like you to stay pregnant the whole, I think it was 10 days of antibiotics. I want you to stay pregnant for that. And so I went from, oh my gosh, I'm having a baby in a car to, oh my gosh, I'm not having a baby for hopefully 10 days. And so their goal was to keep the baby in there. I want to say we stayed in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. It was really rough being away from our babies, and my husband stayed alongside me the entire time. And so we were both away from our kids, and it was just really hard. I finished the antibiotics. My due date today. Baby girl's still in here. Super snug. Yeah. We still have no name for her. And then we get to the day I gave birth. So I was due on April 16th and this was April 17th. I remember that morning I talked to my mom and she was checking in, asking how everything was going. Like, you know, like, has anything started? Has labor started? And, you know, I'm like, no, nothing's happening, whatever. And then I remember talking to my grandma right after my mom. And I want to say this was around 2 p.m. And I had just put my 2-year-old down for a nap and I was talking to my grandma and she's like, anything happening? How are you feeling and stuff? And I was like, this baby is not going to come until my membrane sweep, which was scheduled for the next week. So I was convinced that she was not coming for another week. No signs of labor, nothing. And remind you, it's like 2 p.m. And I went about my day. I'll put some screenshots up here because I don't remember exactly what time I had my first contraction, but I want to say it was around 3 p.m. I had my first contraction. And at this point, I feel like I was pretty good at telling what was a real contraction and what was a Braxton Hicks because this was my 4th baby. So I feel like I was pretty good at telling which one was which, and I was like, okay, that was a real contraction. I know for sure that was a real contraction. The time is 3 p.m. and it is April 17th. So it's the day after my due date. Ooh. Pretty painful, but they're kind of like all over the place, like 4, 6, 8, 5, 2, you know, minutes apart, but they are pretty painful. So I told my husband to come home from work, so he's headed home from work. I really don't know if I'm in labor, but once he gets here, I'm going to get in the bath and like see if that slows things down, and if it does, usually, you know, that means you're not in labor if they don't stick around. So I'll see if my contractions go away while I'm in the bath, and if not, looks like we will be headed to the birth center to just see. I don't think that I'm in labor. I don't know though. I don't know. I texted my midwife and said, hey, I think I had a contraction or a few contractions. I'm gonna try to get in the bath to stop them. Because if you're trying to sleep or you're trying to get in the bath, if it is real contractions and you are actually in labor, obviously nothing is gonna stop your contractions. But if you're not in actual labor, they will stop. I called my mother-in-law or texted her something, and she said, lay on your left side because that will get the Braxton Hicks to stop if they're not real. And I just remember my husband had literally just walked in the door from getting home, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna lay down and see if they'll stop. I remember the second I laid down on my left side, they got a million times worse. They hurt so bad. And I remember that with all of my babies, the second I would lay down for a contraction, it would hurt so bad. Like if I was laying down for a cervical check or whatever, it hurt so badly. I'm pretty sure my husband called and said, hey, like this is real, this is 100%. And my mother-in-law and father-in-law headed over here. They live right down the street from us, so they got here super quickly. And I remember I was leaning up against our kids' nuggets right here in the living room. I'm looking at it. I was leaning up against their nuggets, and I had a really bad contraction. And then I went over to our rocking chair, which was right next to the nuggets, and I said, I'm pretty sure I said the F word. I don't know, I said a bad word. I was like, okay, yeah, this is real. And for some reason, there was something telling me, do not get in that car. It was God telling me, do not get in that car, because the entire time I was pregnant, that was my biggest fear, was giving birth in the car. And you can hear the fear in my voices when I was talking about giving birth in the car when I was like 37 or 38 weeks. You can hear the fear in my voice. That was like my biggest fear throughout my entire pregnancy, was giving birth in the car. And so I was like, I cannot get in the car. Like I cannot, I'm telling you, I cannot get in the car. And so since I only had been contracting for a little bit, I didn't think I was like super far along or super far in labor. And they're all confused. They're like, oh, so we're like not getting in the car. And I was like, okay, I just need to go to the bathroom first, because I'm not getting in that car without going to the bathroom. And I was walking down the hallway, and my husband came up alongside me and he said, babe, do you need to go pee or poop? And I said, I need to go poop. And he said that was the moment he 100% knew that I was 100% ready to push this baby out, because that's what a woman says when she's about to put a shot of baby, is that she needs to go. Number two, I walk into the bathroom, and Jordan, my husband, had his mom come in the bathroom with us, and I'm sitting on the toilet and I am contracting. And remind you, my contractions were never consistent up until this point. Like they were all over the place. So I was not even convinced that I was in labor, because my contractions were just all over the place. They weren't 5 minutes apart, 2 minutes apart. Like no, they were just everywhere. So that's why I was convinced like I'm probably not in labor, because my contractions aren't consistent at all. And so I was on the toilet and I was contracting quite a bit. And I remember my mother-in-law said, why don't you just feel up there and see if you can feel the baby's head, like see where you're at. And so I remember feeling up there, a little TMI, but birth is TMI. So if you don't like to hear about birth, you probably shouldn't be watching this video. Anyways, I stuck my fingers up there and I said, I can feel her head probably about right here at my finger, that far up. And she said, okay, you're at I think she wanted to say a 0 station, or maybe she said a 1 station. I don't know. She said something station. And I remember being like, so am I gonna have this baby then? Or do we have time to get in the car? Like what's happening? And I remember her saying, every birth is different. So we don't really know. That could be a long time or it could be a short period of time. You don't really know. And so I remember like being like, what the heck, you know? I was like, oh my gosh. And then a few seconds later of her saying that, I got another contraction, and I remember I felt my water burst. And I looked over and I said, my water broke. And then literally, guys, like a millisecond right after I got done saying my water broke, I said her head is out. Like it literally, no pushing, my water broke and her head came out, and I stood up off of the toilet and she fell out. She literally fell out of me. I'm not even kidding. She fell out of me, and thankfully my husband, with very fast reflexes, stuck his arms out and caught her falling out of me so she didn't fall in the toilet. He literally just caught her, and then he handed her to me, and I like took my yellow sweater off and did skin to skin with her. And then I remember my mother-in-law said, Nevaeh, Hudson, come here, your baby is here. And remind you, my 2-year-old is still sleeping, so it was just my older 2 kids awake. And she said, Nevaeh, Hudson, your baby's here. I just remember Bea running down the hall, and she's freaking out. She's like, she can't be here. She doesn't have a name, because we still had not come up with a name for her. So she's running down the hall. She's like, she can't be here. She doesn't have a name. She was so worried that she did not have a name. So they come into the bathroom. That's when this video was taken.
Okay, and I want to get you off this way. Okay.
Like literally 1 minute after giving birth, this video was taken. And I'm holding her right here and, you know, with my husband and with my kids. And I remember saying, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. And that was my biggest fear this entire pregnancy, was that I was going to hemorrhage, because I had postpartum hemorrhage with all 3 of my pregnancies. And that was a huge fear of mine. And my midwives were actually very, very worried about me giving birth in the car. Because I had postpartum hemorrhage 3 times, they were worried about me giving birth in the car. So they actually gave me a vial of Pitocin and the needles and stuff like that. And they taught my husband how to administer Pitocin to me just in case I gave birth in the car. So that's something I was worried about my whole pregnancy, was that I was gonna hemorrhage. And so I'm sitting there with my baby and my husband, my kids, and my mother-in-law, and I say, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding, because I felt warmth. And I thought it was blood, but it wasn't. It was my daughter literally peeing on me. And so my mother-in-law, you can kind of hear her at the end of the video, she said, okay, Ange, I think we need to get you up. And she says that, and she told my father-in-law, which was in our living room, she said, call 911, because we didn't know if I was going to bleed a ton or not. We wanted me and the baby checked out and everything like that. And so she took me up and she walked me to my room and laid me on the bed with my newborn baby. Like, I was in my own bed 3 minutes after giving birth. So I'm laying in bed with my tiny little newborn like 3 minutes after giving birth. And I remember the EMTs and the firefighters came in and they were checking on me and they were checking on baby, and my mother-in-law actually delivered my placenta for me. None of them did it. My mother-in-law did it, because I couldn't have done it without her. She was just amazing the entire time. And so she delivered my placenta for me, and my husband actually got to cut the cord, and the firefighters and EMTs, they did my blood sugar and my blood pressure, and they just checked on literally everything for me and the baby.
You guys are adorable. Say, yeah, we know.
Do we know the name yet?
They said that me and the baby were doing fantastic. I did not bleed at all. Obviously I bled, but I did not hemorrhage whatsoever. All of my bleeding was perfectly normal. I felt amazing. I never lost consciousness, which I did in my previous births. I never puked, which I did in my previous births. And I literally felt so amazing. It was just, I wish I could go back and just replay that day over and over again, because it was just so beautiful. My sister-in-law came over, I want to say like maybe 30 minutes after giving birth, and she brought me a tincture which helps contract your uterus. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but she gave me that. My mother-in-law gave me the Pitocin right away. Right after I had her, she gave me the Pitocin, and I think that helped a ton, and the tincture helped a ton, and I never hemorrhaged. And so yeah, and then my mom and my sister got here, and they got to meet our baby girl. And my son actually woke up from his nap, and I'll put some videos in here of that.
Fitting, because she doesn't have a name either.
Aww.
She's like, wow. Go back, Hudsie. You don't want to get too close. Like, I literally just
Just took a nap, people.
That's, I told her, he's probably like, I'm never going to sleep again.
My husband brought him in the room, and he was looking at me like, what happened? I am never going to sleep again, because I went to sleep and I come and wake up and y'all have a baby. Like, he was so confused because he was napping through all of this. Like, literally he napped through all of this. And so all of our babies got to hold and see her.
I'm sending all these to Mama. What do you think? She's so perfect.
She reminds us a lot of you, Biz.
And my mom and my sister and my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. Then we got to video call the rest of my husband's siblings and tell them we just gave birth at our house.
You notice we're at home.
The firefighters and the EMTs left. They said they could have taken me to the hospital, but because we were perfectly fine and we felt amazing, we were doing amazing, we just had them leave because I live very, very close to the hospital. So we said, you know, if something happens, we'll just go. but nothing happened and we had them leave, and it was pure bliss. And I'll put a bunch of photos and stuff and everything of right after we give birth, because it was just amazing. Then I think I had my mom, I don't know, I had somebody go get me Dairy Queen, so I'm just eating Dairy Queen in my bed, you know, just had a baby, chilling in my bed eating Dairy Queen. It was amazing. Just had a baby on the train. And then I'll put some videos here of my postpartum experience and pictures. 24 hours postpartum. This is what the belly's looking like. Cushy, but my uterus is really going back down super well. I think this is like the best it's ever gone back down. But these pants are helping make me feel all in here. So 48 hours postpartum from my unassisted home birth. This is what the belly's looking like. My milk has officially come in, and yeah, I feel pretty good, honestly. I feel really good. Still rocking the diaper, of course.
Would that be a good idea? Yeah. Quack, quack, quack.
48 hours postpartum, first time using Mahaka, and I got 2 ounces.
You want to play with your
My milk is officially in. Breastfeeding postpartum went amazing. I felt amazing postpartum, like 24 and 48 hours. I felt better than I ever had felt. There's really no other words for it except amazing. I'm just so thankful, like that's how it happened. All 3 of my births before this one, I had postpartum hemorrhage horribly. Like my births were very traumatic and very scary, and just to not hemorrhage at all and give birth in my own home with the people I love, it was just so incredibly healing and so powerful. That's not what I expected when I accidentally gave birth in my bathroom. That's never what I would have expected, was for it to be so amazing, but it was. She was born at 4:20 or 4:30 something. We don't know exactly what time, but she was born around that time. And then my mother-in-law had an old scale that she brought over, and we tried to weigh her.
7.5.
I was going with 7.7.
I'm going 8.1.
I'm going 7.8.
And then we did her length, and I think it was 21 inches. So 24 hours later, the next day, we went up to the birth center and they did her length and her weight and all of the newborn screening they needed to do, and I'll insert pictures and videos of that here. First time in the car. She loves it. Sweet baby girl's first check. And I'm pretty sure it was 6:12 or something like that, but she had been pooping and peeing all night, so I know she weighed more than that at birth, but was her first weight. And so yeah, they said the same thing, that she was perfectly healthy and I was perfectly healthy, and my placenta had come out great. There was no like retained placenta like I've had in the past, like nothing. It came out perfectly. She was perfectly healthy. So yeah, that is my birth story on how I had a free birth in my bathroom accidentally. On that note, I know I haven't been active on YouTube, but I'm going to start posting more now that I am 4 months postpartum. I am feeling so good and so ready to start social media again. So I'm gonna start posting, but I just wanted to get this video out there for you guys. And yeah, we are so excited to have our baby girl with us. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to join the family, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.